Welcome back to ESBR Boxing, folks. Delighted to have with me Owen McKendry. Owen, we're reacting to tonight's acting at the Copper Box, not the Copper Boss. I refuse to call it that. I don't care how many people do it. It's not the main event. We're reacting to Kieran Conway's fourth round stoppage win. A very impressive win over Wales's Jerome Warburton. Yeah, a fight that Kieran Conway was expected to win. The bookies had decision as the more likely outcome as a stoppage, but got it wrong. Conway had Warburton sort of rocking a bit in the third and then finished them off in the fourth with the title coming in. Yeah, give us your thoughts on what we've just saw.
Thank you for having me as always. But yeah, I think obviously I did the final predictions for this, and I agreed with the bookies. I think mainly, as I said, I'd never seen Warburton fight before tonight, so I had nothing to judge him off. So based off the levels, could he take a punch? Could he not? It's hard to predict a stoppage, but I'll give Jerome Warburton his dues. I think he played into Kieran Conway's hands, but fair play to him. He come out from the first bow. He's tried to step on Conway's toes, but the levels showed. Conway with the much more talent shots. The body shots were breaking him down, bust his nose nice and early. So the tactics of Warburton trying to well, from my perspective, I don't know about you, but I think it looked like he was going to try and gas Kieran Conway out. Head to head, phone box style pressure fighting, but yeah, levels showed tonight. Easy night's work for Conway. I didn't expect the stoppage to come that early. If it was to come, I thought it'd be quite late. So I wouldn't necessarily say a statement performance from Kieran Conway, but for someone who's had such a stop-start career, it's a big night for him.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. Warburton really set about Conway from the opening bell. And like yourself, I've not seen a great deal of him, but from what the commentators and pundits were saying, it's not normally the way he approaches things.
Mhm.
And he did have success in the first round. Adam Smith was saying he won it. I don't know. I thought it was a swing round. I did edge it to Conway personally.
Yeah.
And although you thought maybe, this fella could cause Conway some problems,
Mm.
but Conway was just able to find the gaps, and he was the much bigger, much stronger, much bigger puncher. And as you say, the body shots in the end proved to be too much for Warburton. And yeah, he was finished. There was no arguments that throwing the towel in was the right idea. What next for Kieran Conway? He's picked up the British middleweight title. He's just holding it now in this interview. It's a good job he was, or else I would have forgot that was on the line. It's the middleweight is a division that's not the division it once was, certainly at the top level. Conway sort of flirted with world level before, obviously fell short against Amo Williams. He's been in with some of the bigger domestic names at 154. Got some good wins, beat Linus Adofia, fellas fighters of that ilk. But what would you like to see him do next? As you say, at the start. And a few of his performances leading up to this, he's got wins, but maybe not really won through the gears.
Mhm.
Tonight he's made a bit of a statement. Where would you like to see Kieran Conway go next?
I think, like you say, it's difficult because 160 is not exactly the most stacked division. So someone who's not necessarily a world champion could end up becoming a world champion due to the lack of star names in the division. But for me, as I said, he's had such a stop-start career. Jerome Warburton's not a British level fighter. It's difficult for me to say, like you say, he's winning with Amo Williams. He didn't disgrace himself, but is he quite at that level? Maybe defend his British title, and then or maybe even look at European level. I just think, as I say, for Kieran Conway's been, like I say, he had the first loss against Derek Osais, which was stupid. Then he lost again against Sissoko. Had a few wins, lost against Sissoko. Had a few wins, lost against Amo Williams. So I don't want to see him necessarily stepped up yet. I want him to have another, maybe even another similar level fight to Jerome Warburton. It doesn't even have to be for the British necessarily, but I think they've just got to manage Kieran Conway's career, let him build up. So it's really hard to sort of put specific names on it because I don't. He's clearly a good fighter. He can clearly punch, but another loss for him. How many times? Not necessarily. I'm not coming with a retirement shout, but what I'm thinking is from a fighter's perspective, you can't just keep building up, getting knocked down, building up, getting knocked down. At some point, something's got to give. So I don't know about yourself, but for me, I want another similar level fight. Go through the gears again. Either get 12 rounds in or find a stoppage, and then we can potentially look at stepping him back up.
Yeah, in the build up to this card, Eddie Hearn talked about George Liddard,
George
who obviously is
Lagarde.
about to fight now. I just wonder maybe if they'll pump the brakes on that from the Liddard side of
Absolutely.
things. I mean, if they it's off the back of that, I think if Conway had a laboured to a points win in a similar fashion they did against Ryan Kelly, then maybe they would look to make that at some point this year. I just wonder maybe if they'll hold off after what
Hmm.
we've seen now. Obviously, George Liddard's yet the box. He's on now in just 5 minutes, so maybe he'll look even better than Kieran Coleman. They won't have reservations. A name that's just came into my head. It wouldn't be a domestic fight. The British title wouldn't be on the line, but a UK and Ireland fight. Maybe an Aaron McKenna. Obviously looked very good against Liam Smith last time out. In saying that, maybe Conway will look at that and think, what's in that for me? I suppose he would potentially be able to retain his title, but Aaron McKenna, good a fighter as he may be, not a massive name. I suppose Kieran Conway will want
Hmm.
to get well paid for that. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe a sort of not a softer touch, but an easier defense of the British title. Maybe go on to try and win that outright. But we shall see. Great performance, regardless of what comes next for Kieran Conway. Was expected to win, but maybe wasn't expected to win in the fashion he did. He looked really good tonight. But Owen, that's all we have time for tonight, mate. Thanks for hopping on. Let you enjoy the rest of the boxing at the Copper Bosch tonight. Oh, slipped out. Thanks very much, mate.
Pleasure as always, mate.